Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In Surah Al-An'am verse 74, Allah says, وَإِذْ قَالَ إِبْرَاهِيمُ لِأَبِيهِ آزَرَ أَتَتَّخِذُ أَصْنَامًا آلِهَةً إِنِّي أَرَاكَ وَقَوْمَكَ فِي ضَلَالٍ مُبِينٍ. And the translation of this verse is, and mention when Ibrahim said to his father, Azar, do you take idols as deities? Indeed, I see you and your people to be in manifest error. Now, normally when we talk about toxic people in our lives, we are referring to toxic friends and relatives. We call them toxic because they always choose to use words that are deliberately meant to hurt us, to make us feel less worthy or useless. They like to be sarcastic, they like to taunt us when we have accomplished something good, and basically they just like to make our lives miserable. In those situations, we often are told to keep a distance from such people for the sake of our mental health. But what do you do if your parents are toxic? Is it even possible for parents to be toxic? Is it a guna? Is it a sin to suggest something like this? This confuses many people because ever since we are young, we are told that our parents are our ticket to Jannah. So we have to love them in our hearts. We have to always speak and think highly of them. And we have to do everything that they tell us to do. So you can imagine the very thought of our mother or father being toxic makes us actually feel guilty. It makes us feel as if we are committing a sin just by suggesting this or even thinking about this. Now, the truth is, parents are humans who at times have their own complexes and their own insecurities. Ideally, they should be very loving and caring, always supporting their children, always motivating them, but that is not always the case. Many times you hear the opposite. Parents are comparing their kids to others, making the kids feel bad because they think that by doing so, they are encouraging the child to do better, not realizing that they are actually destroying the child's confidence. So you can imagine what a torturous and difficult life it must be for a child who is constantly seeking validation from a toxic parent. The child is always trying to please the mother or father, not realizing that the words of appreciation they are desperate to hear will never come because the parent is suffering from his or her own complexes that prevent her or him from giving any validation. So in that case, what do you do? I mean, isn't this what Islam teaches us, that we have to constantly make our parents happy? So what do you do if your parents are the kind of people who will never be happy? While the Quran tells us to look after our parents, whether our parents are Muslim or non-Muslim, and it tells us to look after our parents, especially in old age, and to be kind and nice to them, it never tells us to worship them. It never tells us to work day in and day out just to make sure that our parents are happy. We are never told in the Quran to seek validation from our parents, nor are we told that we have to lose our self-respect and destroy our mental health just trying to seek their approval. Over here, in fact, the Quran is very, very clear that we must only seek validation from Allah, no one else. Ibrahim a.s. is a perfect example. Ever since he was a child, he never got along with his father because his father was known for being a staunch idol worshipper who not only worshipped idols, but he was also known for building them. But even though his father was upset at Ibrahim for not worshipping the idols, at no point do you see Ibrahim changing his personality, molding himself to attain the approval of his father. In fact, even after Ibrahim became a prophet, he continues arguing politely to convey his point, standing firm on what he believes to be true, even if it upsets his father. His father scolded him many times, said many mean things to him, and even at one point told him to leave the house. But not only do you not see Ibrahim trying to seek validation from his father, you also do not see any guilt in Ibrahim. He doesn't feel like he's a bad son who will earn Allah's punishment. And this is what we have to understand. If your parents are toxic, then that is a huge test that Allah has placed on you. If you cannot love them in your heart, that's okay. If you cannot think nice things about them, that's okay. Your test is not to truly and sincerely love them. Your test is to respect them and be kind to them as best as you can, while at the same time standing firm on what you believe to be true, while at the same time recognizing your self-respect, your worth, and your identity. That is the challenge. So stop trying to please parents who will never be pleased. It's only making your mental health worse. Please only Allah, seek validation from only Allah. But yes, respect your parents and look after them if they are in need. Learn how to set healthy boundaries and learn how to communicate effectively so that no one should be allowed to destroy your self-esteem. Assalamu alaikum.